Recently, Anthropic has launched a new series of AI models that have outperformed both GPT-4 and Gemini in benchmark tests. With the AI industry growing and evolving rapidly, Claude 3 models are making significant strides as the next big thing in large language models, LLMs. Claude 3 Opus sure sounds like a better alternative to the GPT-4. Let's take a quick rundown and explore the Claude 3 Opus and take a thorough look at all its amazing features. The Claude 3 Opus, which Anthropic refers to as its most intelligent model, has interestingly outperformed its peers on the most common evaluation benchmarks for AI systems, including undergraduate level expert knowledge, MMLU, graduate level expert reasoning, GPQA, basic mathematics, GSM 8K, and more. It exhibits near human levels of comprehension and fluency on complex tasks, leading the frontier of general intelligence. Before we continue, for those who don't know Anthropic, they are an American intelligence AI startup company founded by former members of OpenAI based in San Francisco. That sure is interesting, especially since they have managed to raise $1.50 billion in funding. The company describes itself as an AI safety and research business and is focused on creating reliable, interpretable, and steerable AI systems. It was founded in 2021 by Dario and Daniela Amodei. Anthropic is classed as a public benefit company, a corporation that is set up to make a profit but is doing so by working on something that will have a positive impact on humanity. In 2023, Claude came to the scene, and over time, more versions were released. Claude 1.3 was released in March 2023, the second version. Claude 2 was released in July 2023, and now they just released Claude 3 last month, and this seems to be doing really great, and so far there's been nothing but great feedback about the AI. Claude 3 sets new industry benchmarks across a wide range of cognitive tasks. The family includes 3 state-of-the-art models in ascending order of capability: Claude 3 Haiku, Claude Sonnet, and Claude 3 Opus. Claude 3 offers an interestingly powerful performance, allowing its users to select an optimal balance of intelligence, speed, and cost for their specific application. Now, let's take a closer look at each of these Claude variants. Coming up first, we have Haiku, which is the fastest and most cost-effective model capable of reading and processing information-dense research papers in less than 3 seconds. Up next, we have Sonnet, which is 2x faster than Claude 2 and 2.1. Marvelously excelling at tasks demanding rapid responses, like knowledge retrieval or sales automation. Lastly, we have Opus, which delivers similar speeds to Claude 2 and 2.1, but with much higher levels of intelligence. According to this table, we can see Claude 3 Opus outperform GPT-4 and Gemini Ultra on all LLMs benchmarks, making it the new leader in the AI world. One thing to also bear in mind with these Claude models is the fact that there is a significant improvement, particularly in their strong vision capabilities. They can process various visual formats, including photos, charts, graphs, and technical diagrams. All Claude 3 models have shown increased capabilities in areas like analysis and forecasting, nuanced content creation, code generation, and conversing in non-English languages like Spanish, Japanese, and French. The Claude 3 models can power live customer chat, auto-completion, and data extraction tasks where responses must be immediate and in real life. The new Claude models have also significantly made a lot of progress in that the older Claude models often made unnecessary refusals that often suggested lack of a contextual understanding. But with Haiku, Sonnet, and Opus, there have been significant advancements in that they are less likely to refuse to answer prompts that border on the system's guardrails than previous generations of models. From a chart sample released by Anthropic, we see that the 3 models show a more nuanced understanding of requests, recognize real harm, and refuse to answer harmless prompts much less often. So why should you use Claude 3 Opus for creative writing instead of GPT-4? To answer that, let's take a look at this example. Let's say you're trying to write a book, and the book is a horror or something not as scary, and you ask Claude Opus to help you out. It kind of does a great job at understanding the task at hand and gives a prompt in relation to your request. It sort of handles the task better than the GPT-4. Claude actually does go into bits of the gory details, but not too much. Overall, Claude was able to understand the job, thereby giving an appropriate reply. But let's bear this in mind that Claude isn't going to be able to do all your work for you. Things like going knee-deep into gory detail. You might need to fill in those parts yourself. Another thing that we need to come to understand is that the Claude models sort of have to deal more with creative writing, and the Claude 3 Opus might really just be the best when it comes to creative writing. When you give the Opus a prompt, it actually follows the prompt from start to finish. It doesn't get sidetracked. It always follows the prompt. It also gives longer outputs which range extensively from 1,500 words to 2,000 words and even 3,000 words. Also, it is more articulate and its answers are usually better written and more articulate. Even when the Sonnet was tested alongside GPT-4, the answers were great and it surpassed the GPT-4, but also the answers weren't as great as one would expect. And GPT-4 often sways from the point. Oftentimes, you have to type in a particular prompt multiple times, even try different ways of asking your questions, and even with that, you're not satisfied with the given answer because the answers are far from what you need. The dialoguing with GPT isn't just that great. Even though Opus is a bit on the high side with it, you will get better dialoguing, prose, actions, as well as description compared to the Sonnet. The Sonnet is basically this less expensive version that is not as good as Opus, but still gets the job done. For creative writing, mostly just describes the action. Now, to further drive the point of choosing Claude 3 Opus instead of GPT-4 Home, a head-to-head test was carried out where ChatGPT and Claude were asked 13 very different questions, designed to test aspects such as reasoning and natural language processing, but also how good they are at completing handy workplace tasks like scanning documents for information and composing emails. The results weren't all that shocking, as we knew Claude 3 would do better. In the results, we see that Claude produced a better response on 7 of the tests, while ChatGPT triumphed on 3. The remaining 4, including one of the brainstorming tests, ended in ties, meaning Claude won this matchup. Here's a quick list of some of the questions that were asked the chatbots. 1. Questions on ethical reasoning. 2. Questions on creating product description. 3. Brainstorming ideas, 2 sets. 4. Understanding of natural language. 5. Summarizing text. 6. Personal advice. 7. Analyzing text. 8. Providing factual information. 9. Creative writing. 10. Writing poems. 11. Riddles and reasoning. 12. Composing an email. And 13. Creating spreadsheet formulas. In the presented ethical dilemma, both Claude and ChatGPT were tasked with addressing the difficult decision of whether to blow up an armored car carrying a man intent on causing harm, along with 3 hostages inside, to prevent further harm to potential victims. Claude's response was noted for its sensitivity and human-like approach to the situation. It conveyed a deep understanding of the gravity of the scenario and seemed to evoke emotions, making it compelling. While it didn't provide a definitive answer, it offered a nuanced perspective that acknowledged the complexity of the dilemma. On the other hand, ChatGPT's response focused on outlining various viewpoints and approaches to the situation. It provided a comprehensive analysis of the ethical considerations involved and referenced the challenges inherent in making such a decision. Unlike Claude's response, it didn't exhibit emotional undertones, but rather presented a structured overview of possible approaches. Overall, both responses offered valuable insights into the ethical considerations of the dilemma, but Claude's response was reasonably better. In the task of creating product descriptions for a digital clock, Claude outperformed ChatGPT in terms of generating compelling and human-like content. Claude's descriptions were praised for their impressive sentence construction and overall quality, making them more appealing for use without extensive editing. This indicates Claude's superiority in creating engaging product descriptions compared to ChatGPT. In the task of brainstorming blog post ideas for a fine dining blog, Claude outperformed ChatGPT by providing more fully formed titles and demonstrating a clear understanding of why the audience would be interested in reading the suggested post. Claude's suggestions were deemed more useful for someone about to produce content for the blog, as they included rationale behind each idea. ChatGPT, on the other hand, offered more generic and vague ideas without showing the same level of understanding or reasoning behind the suggestions. While the ideas were still relevant, they lacked the depth and specificity of Claude's suggestions. In the challenge involving a math question about the cost of an apple and a banana, both Claude and ChatGPT correctly provided the answer, which is 5 cents for the banana. Claude demonstrated a clear understanding of the problem. By explaining HW, it arrived at the correct answer. ChatGPT also provided the correct answer without hesitation. As both AI models correctly solved the math problem, there was no clear distinction between them, resulting in a tie. In the task of summarizing a recent Guardian article about President Joe Biden's final State of the Union address, both Claude and ChatGPT demonstrated their capability to condense large amounts of text into concise summaries. Claude's summaries were brief and clear, effectively making the key points obvious without overwhelming the reader with unnecessary information. Its succinct approach was preferred for delivering concise summaries. ChatGPT's summaries were deemed just satisfactory, but were noted as slightly less brief and concise compared to Claude's. While still effective in capturing the main points of the article, ChatGPT's summaries were seen as somewhat less polished in terms of writing style. Overall, Claude was preferred as the best answer for summarizing text due to its ability to provide succinct and well-written summaries without overloading the reader with excessive information. In another test where both Claude and ChatGPT were tasked with scanning a text to count the occurrences of the word beach ball, Claude outperformed ChatGPT by accurately identifying all instances of the word. Claude also demonstrated the ability to treat longer texts as documents, enhancing its functionality. However, ChatGPT struggled with this task, identifying only 2 instances of the word, indicating a limitation in its ability to handle such tasks effectively. Therefore, Claude was deemed the best answer for analyzing text in this test. Claude 3 also surpassed GPT-4 in a series of other questions that were asked. With how well this Claude model seems to be doing, and from the results we've all seen above, then it is safe to say that the best bet is to use Claude 3 Opus if you are looking to get better and satisfying results. What do you think about this? Do you agree with us, or do you think otherwise? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. To stay updated on our contents, hit the notification button and subscribe to our channel to get up to date on new and exciting contents.